first of all, I want to let you know that I am talking to you now officially as a COVID survivor. I tested negative this Monday. I tested positive last Wednesday, the 22nd, and I knew that I was on the tail end of it, and I was feeling really good. Went first thing on Monday morning, got that negative test. So yeah, now I've got these antibodies coursing through me. I might sell them like bath water. I don't know how I'm going to monetize this.
Figure it out. There's all kinds of ways, but it's obviously it's great to hear that you are part of the 99% of people that generally survive this damn thing. And no, seriously though, that's certainly awesome.
It was crazy because, and like after my whatever positive test, I got a call from the contact tracing people. I found that like pretty annoying. They called me 4 times in a row. I was like, not interested. Like, I haven't been anywhere. They were very annoying. And then I received what is kind of like a threatening letter from westchestergov.com. It's like it's like on this letterhead, the commissioner of health is sending this, like, dear me, Westchester County Department of Health has an urgent medical matter to discuss with you. It's confidential. You have to call us right away. And if we don't pick up, you have to leave a voicemail. And in the back, everything's in Spanish. And it's basically like a commissioner's order that they sent me. And it's like, where every sentence starts with whereas. It's like a lot of what sounds like legal mumbo jumbo.
Yeah.
And it's all about like, you have to stay isolated. And also in here says like, everybody in your house can't leave either. And I just was kind of showing this around to like everybody in the family, and they were like, "Oh wow, this is basically kind of telling you like, yeah, you have no rights for as long as you have COVID." It's wild.
That's beyond wild. Like this, I didn't know. I mean, look, I'm ignorant on a lot of this stuff because I'm in Texas, and to my knowledge, there's not anything like that going on. But every day I'm hearing a new story of someone, you hear it out of the country, but certainly you hear it here as well, of some just unbelievable bull crap, tyrannical nonsense is happening to people, or they're having to experience simply because they, were around someone that had COVID or are potentially exposed to it. It's beyond insane, like beyond insane.
Yeah. And I'm not gonna, I've been going around saying it that it's no big deal. Like for me, it was no big deal. And I don't know if that can be attributed to like, I'm not the most in shape person on the planet, but I'm also like not a refrigerator. So yeah, I don't know if it's from like years of swimming that my lungs were sort of, I don't know what to attribute it to, but I hate to say, I mean, like, and I'm, I'm still taking care of my boyfriend. Like he's having a kind of a rough time with it. He has like this really persistent cough, and I felt horrible because I totally gave it to him, totally gave it to his mom.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't trade, and they're gonna be fine. And I wouldn't trade the last year and a half of my life, like how I've lived it, to not have gone through
that. Obviously, an experience of you just basically being sick. And I mean, your experience isn't necessarily unlike a lot of people, you know what I mean? Or my colleagues over at the Blaze, pretty much all of them have had it. Yaku, Sarah has had it. And it's almost like people forgot that that's a thing. Like getting sick is a thing like that a lot of people seem to have forgot about. Like it has happened, for various reasons. Some things you just can't really explain, or you got a cough, and you think just the various amounts of illnesses that people have caught over the year. And for some reason, and this is why, of course, I attribute it to just government just being evil, that, it's kind of some mass psychosis kind of thing going on where you got a bunch of people paranoid, usually in the least vulnerable population, paranoid in terms of how, if they were exposed to it or they got it. And, these, whether it be the media or government, they're attributing to them, I would argue, handling it worse because, they're stressing themselves out. And we accept that that's not good for your health, especially when you're not sick. I would argue that it, of course, is like, double. So the government and media figures, these pundits who have hyped this stuff up, have really led a lot of people to just being deranged and forgetting the fact that, human beings over the course of human history have gotten sick. And sometimes I used to get a stomach bug like every year. My mama attested it. like every year that will put me out for like a couple of weeks. And some of which I've had to be hospitalized before. It was weird. You know, I'm throwing up, vomiting and stuff like that. And, you know, I'm not scared of this thing. It's simply not. And even if something happened, if I handle it rough, whatever, it is what it is. But like you're mentioning, like, it's not worth trading living, which is essentially what we're talking about, for not experiencing that. And even so, you know, you still may end up experiencing it anyway, even if you go get your little jabs and take all your precautions anyway. Human beings just forgot that the immune system is what it is, and they have completely forgot that, yeah, people get sick, dude.
So you haven't had this yet?
No, apparently, no, I haven't, unless I don't know. I'm on this kind of, if I can avoid being tested, I want to avoid it, mainly because I do think that's also attributing to a lot of the mass psychosis. Is mass sort of, we've never done this for anything in modern history where we're testing all the damn time for everything. And I don't want to be attributing to someone's positive numbers or anything, but I have not myself have been sick at all, really, of anything, knock on wood, over the last year and a half, and really going on longer than that. I'm relatively healthy. I work out every single day, twice. Yeah, I feel good about my experience being a young man in an event that I do catch it. I've obviously been around a bunch of people that catches that have caught it. And I haven't got it yet, to my knowledge. And if I have, then I just don't know. So, you know, I deal with it. We might have lost Chrissie, y'all. We lost. All right, now it's my show. All right, y'all. I was gonna take the show over. You're back. Oh man, I was gonna take it over.
You can take it over.
I was feeling good. I was about to take the show completely over.
Oh my God, you're the second Texas person to tell me to have this idea of like, yeah, I don't want to contribute to the numbers, which I get. I really appreciate that. Like, kind of like, fuck you. Like, I wouldn't have even gotten tested if my boyfriend was like, I'm not feeling great, I think I'll go get tested, because he was about to go, like, you know, it was last Wednesday, and he was going to have his son last weekend. So he was like, well, I have to go get tested because I can't go and pick him up, you know, knowing I might have this. I was like, I'll fucking go too. Why? Sure. And then we're both positive. I was like, oh boy. Cause now I'm realizing that the days leading up to that, I attributed all my symptoms to other stuff. I was like feeling lightheaded and brain foggy. I'm like, oh, I'm getting my period. I'm like, it's my chick brain, whatever. Mm-hmm. I had body aches. I was like, well, I worked out for the first time in a long time. I'm sure it's that. And being sick is so annoying to me that I'd rather just like power through it than like loaf. And because I feel like for me, I don't know, if I'm in like the sick mindset, like I feel like it's a waste of time. And I don't know. I think it's annoying. And that's why I'm throwing like, and now I have this negative test. Like I went and got tested Monday. Like now I hope everybody sees and hears about this now. Like you guys that are all obsessed with, but I'm sure they don't count. And that's the thing, is like, they're not gratified. I don't know. They're not really giving much credence to the millions of people who have survived this thing and have the antibodies. Like, and it's just all the arguments are kind of crumbling underneath them. It's like, but everyone at this point knows that if you're vaccinated, you can still get it and spread it. So like, why are we pushing it just as hard as before when we didn't know this?
Yeah, and it's illogical. I mean, I've obviously been on several rants today thinking about this, because the more you sit and think about it, and I know a lot of people have accepted this as kind of the new normal, but the more you think about it, you're like, this doesn't make sense. Like none of this, the actions, the precautions, none of this makes sense. And it's unlike anything that we've ever done in really response to anything, definitely upper respiratory illness related. It just doesn't make sense. And I would argue that, you know, if I was in your position, to be honest, I'd probably be very upset. Meaning that, like, if I got it and I know I recovered and, you know, I had a couple of issues, but, you know, you would probably attribute allergies and shit, you know, whatever. I just had some problems. But that was all that happened to me. I'm like, this is why you tried to shut my life down.
I'm like, this is what we shut the country down over the last year and a half. We've ruined lives over a glorified cold.
Yeah,
basically. Like a couple nights of chills, couple nights of headaches, a couple of days of brain fog. You know, my boyfriend got a sore throat real bad. I had a cough, and then he got a cough. It's like I've had stomach flu. I've had like food poisoning worse than this. Like I know I've been sicker than this, and it's fucking infuriating that we're going to prioritize like the morbidly obese, the incredibly old, people who aren't really working, their health, and turning everything upside down to keep those people safe that like are not even keeping
themselves safe.
Yeah. And we're gonna.
That's a par for the course for the entire pandemic, right? That was what the mask thing was about, right? It wasn't about protecting yourself. It's like my mask protects you and your mask protects me. Like this whole ordeal has been about that. It's like you are supposed to take someone else's health into consideration for virtually everything you do. Again, this is something that we've never done, by the way, but it especially doesn't make sense when you consider, like you mentioned, the people that you mentioned that are in that class of people, particularly people that are struggling with like obesity and all those sorts of issues, that know that that's their own doing. It's a self-inflicted wound, rather, that has put you in more of a likelihood to get severely sick from anything, but COVID included, right? You look at what was it? CDC came out like 78% of the hospitalizations were from people that were obese. Like that's insane. So these are people that aren't taking themselves into consideration, but they expect you to take them into consideration when they have made it abundantly clear that they're not doing everything within their own power to take care of themselves. And that in itself is bizarre as well, looking at that you want me to take care of you, but you won't take care of yourself. And, you know, it's obviously the pundits, the public health experts, they don't even mention this. There's been no leading charge in the last year and a half by your beloved CDCs or your FDAs or the whatever alphabet agencies that are supposedly in charge of approving all of this measures and everything. No leading effort of telling you or encouraging you to go work out. They probably would have saved more lives making mandatory exercise as opposed to mandatory mask mandates.
Exactly.